Welcome back to Mondays with Madeline. Today we're going to do an unboxing of an Instantpot. The Instantpot has spawned quite the viral craziness, and I mean thousands of recipes, cookbooks. It's become its own fad. Now, I'm not really big into fads all that much, but the Instantpot is one that I kind of didn't want to miss out on. I'm not really, as a professional chef, I don't really do the whole, slow cook method, one pot dishes very often. But this particular one, because of all the recipe books and all of the recipes that's come out and the online following, Facebook groups dedicated to just cooking with this, I figured I might as well give it a chance and try it out and see what the big deal was about. One of the things that I thought was coolest about this is not only can you make your classic pot roast, but you can make cakes and cheesecake and poached pears and saute things in it and use it as a food warmer and a steamer. It does everything. It's a pressure cooker, but it's a pressure cooker on steroids. The classic version of the pressure cooker, could be very dangerous. People had issues with it, popping its top and all that kind of thing. But this device has been very well thought out, and it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up, and we're gonna check it out. I haven't opened this one up yet. I got this one on sale on Amazon because, well, to my other ladies out there, Amazon's awesome. I'm sure everybody else knows. So one of the things that I thought was cool about this is, you don't necessarily have to start right off the bat with one of the crazy cookbooks. It comes with a recipe booklet right off the bat. It's not a big recipe booklet by any means, but it's got, clam chowder, beans, cauliflower, porcini mushroom pate spread. That's kind of a surprising one to see in here. Oh, and it's also, this is cool. It's got an entire rice cooking section for basmati, jasmine, and brown rice. That's kind of helpful, especially if you don't have a rice cooker already. Mashed potatoes, different veggies. And they really get international in here. There's a Moroccan recipe and a coconut fish curry recipe. So this is kind of cool. The range of options in this little booklet are pretty great for starting out, especially if you've never used it before, like me, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm a sweets lover, and baking takes a while a lot of times, but this is really cool. It says the prep time is 20 minutes and the pressure cook time is 10 minutes. It's a chocolate orange olive oil mini lava cake. So this might be something that I'm gonna have to put on my to-do list, because even my kids will love that. So you got your user manual. I guess I got the Ultra series. I'm not sure what that means or what the different levels are. Once again, I got this on sale. I was really excited about it. Okay, so it comes with a quick reference guide too, which is handy because I have no idea how to use all the different settings on this thing. It's foreign to me. It's like almost like reading Chinese or something. Whoa! Okay, it's a little bit heavier than I was expecting. Let me tell you that. Well, let's give her a look-see here. It's a lot bigger than, a crock pot. Okay, this is cool. So I guess it's got little goodies inside of it. Looks like some good rice scrapers, a little ladle, a little measuring cup. I don't know what the heck this thing is. Just like a little, this looks almost exactly like the little steamer well thing that came with my baby bottle warmer. Apparently you need to make sure you pay attention to warning labels, everyone. Alright, we've got some little, oh, this is cool. A little rack for the inside, it's got handles for lifting. And that's, okay, so everything I've read about these two says that they're easy cleanup. And that you could put everything in the, everything right into the dish machine when you're done. So I guess this is the inner pot, this is what you cook everything in. Well, okay. So I guess this is your vent, which is cool. There's different, and I know I've read about this, and this is the same kind of idea with pressure cookers. You need a vent to vent off some of the steam to release some of the pressure. So I'm not sure exactly how to use this at this point. It says it's a steam release or a quick release button, so we'll see. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick out a recipe from the recipe book, and I'm gonna get everything together, and we're gonna throw it in there, and we're gonna check it out, and we're gonna talk about the recipe. Okay, so I'm looking at my instructions, checking everything out. I think I have the Ultra 80. It's 1200 watts, 8 quarts. Cooking. Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm just reading. Okay, so figured out what this thing is for. It's a condensation collector. And it goes on the rear of the cooker. So I'll turn this bad boy around so you can see. So again, it's right here, and you've got to line it up and slide it on, I guess. There we go. Well, thank God I read the book before I used it. Otherwise I would have been dripping condensation everywhere. Install the steam release valve onto the lid if it's not already installed. Mine's already installed. Lucky for me. Apparently this loose way that it is the way it's supposed to be. So that's good to know. And I already figured out how to use the lid. This is the pressure release valve. If you just press it up, it releases. If you want to, you could press and go counterclockwise to, well, I thought it did. I thought it said you could press it and go counterclockwise to leave it open or something. I don't know. I'll have to play with it some more. One of the things that I'm confused about is the settings. And it might just be the terminology that's used. But basically in the recipe that I chose, I chose out of this book the Easy Ossobuco. I love ossobuco. I think it's fantastic. This one is a 4-hour slow cook time on it. It's not the pressure cook. So we're gonna see how this one turns out. Maybe I'm old school, going with another slow cook method, but when I'm doing this, so I chose the slow cook method right here. And really, let's see if I can back out of this. Yeah, so when you got it's blinking over here, you can scroll between the different options. Like it says meat and stew, soup and broth, bean and chili, you've got the saute, slow cook. Over here you've got egg, cake, multigrain, porridge. Never thought I would see porridge written on anything, to tell you the truth. But my recipe says to select the slow cook method, and then it's supposed to go for 4 hours, which I have. But then it says use adjust to select less mode. And I don't know if what less mode is, because there's nothing on here that says it. So I'm thinking maybe in the temp it's the low setting. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that for now. And I don't know. Maybe some of you know what that means. All right, so now we're going to start our recipe. The recipe is really super basic for the most part, to tell you the truth. That's kind of one of the reasons why I liked it. I like those simple flavors and combinations. They're familiar with me, and my family will eat this stuff. You know, I don't want to make a big batch of something and then have the kids refuse to eat it. So we're going to start with our classic mix of carrots, onions, and celery. In culinary school, you learn this as mirepoix, and it's like the Holy Trinity. You get the same thing with Creole cooking, but their mixture is a little bit different. Usually it involves peppers. So we're going to go ahead and dump our onions, carrots, and celery right in here. And then we also we're going to use, it calls for a 1/4 cup of chicken broth. I got the unsalted, do as you will, but I like to control my salt content better. And then we've got rosemary. You want to chop your rosemary really fine. And just go ahead and dump that in there. And then same with your thyme, just finely chopped herbs. And then minced garlic. You can of course buy your minced garlic, but I usually like to chop my own. I like it when it's real fresh like that. I don't like it when it's been soaking in some sort of, like juices and stuff. And then our last ingredient that we're gonna put in here for this portion is San Marzano tomatoes, whole ones. Now here's the thing about these. The recipe calls for one 14.5 ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. I couldn't find one that size. And when I looked at this recipe, I wasn't even sure I'd ever seen one that size. Maybe your grocery store has it. Mine doesn't. So I got the big can, which is I think it's 28 ounces. So basically what I did is I just went through and I scooped out some tomatoes and some of the juices in here too. And I have, mine is a little bit more than 14 ounces, 14.5 ounces, but I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. And frankly, these things are amazing. If you've never used San Marzano tomatoes to cook with, you should. We're just gonna go ahead and dump those right in there. All right, so the next step of this is to actually sear off our veal shanks. So we're gonna switch over to the stove top. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my vent over here. This recipe calls for veal shanks. I had a very difficult time finding veal shanks, but I found beef shanks, so I'm pretty cool with that. Beef shanks are a little bit larger size around because obviously it's not a baby like the veal is. With that being said, the recipe that in the book calls for 6 10-ounce veal shanks. These are all about 16 ounces or more, so they're almost equal to the same amount. And really the cook time's not going to vary that much with these. You still have to cook them low and slow the same way. They're just larger. So I've got my pan over here, it's heating up. I'm gonna go ahead and salt and pepper. I'm one of those people that I always have salt and pepper in little containers next to my stove for cooking. I don't like to do the salt and pepper mixtures. I feel like when you do salt and pepper mixtures, you really can't control your salt content very much. And I've had people say to me before that I use too much salt when I cook. And it's not when they are tasting my food. It's usually when they're just watching me. And it's because I'm one of the people that I go through and I taste everything. I do a little bit of salt at a time for my sauces and things like that. So it may appear as if I am, but I'm just trying to control the salt content with every single piece that I do. Because once you over salt something, you're totally messed it up. You never want to over salt. But using the correct amount is really important. And honestly, with these type of when you're searing meats or anything like that, you can go heavy on the salt and pepper because you want to get that nice crust on them with the salt and pepper. So now we're going to go ahead and put some salt or some olive oil right in our pan here. I'm going to roll it around. Go ahead and put that right in there. Now as this is browning, I'm going to go ahead and check out my recipe. And just double check if I can just put these right into the pan when I'm done. Yep. So once this is done browning on both sides, you just take it out of the pan and you move it into your pressure cooker. And then we're actually going to use this wine over here. It's a 3/4 cup of Chardonnay. You can use another dry white wine. I just already happen to have Chardonnay in my refrigerator. Cooking with wine is one of the best things ever, really. Anytime I cook meat and things like that, I really enjoy using wine. A lot of times with red meat, they use a red wine, but this recipe calls for white, so we're going to see how it turns out. I'm very excited to see the end result on this one. All right. This should go without saying, but when you dump your wine into your pan, make sure you have your hand off to the side. You don't want to get a steam burn. Steam burns are really awful and not enjoyable in the least. I'd much rather hit my hand on a rack in an oven or something like that. You want to use, you're basically, this is called deglazing your pan, if you don't know that already. For those that do, you know, it's a simple process. You're basically using it to get any stuck-on bits in your pan out. I didn't have a whole lot of stuck-on bits in my pan. Basically, you can prevent having a whole lot of pieces that get stuck in your pan by making sure your pan is the correct temperature when you add meat to it. I mean, basically you want it to be really hot when you add your meat in. Not where it's going to burn it and singe it, but hot enough that it's not going to stick real bad. And then we're basically just reducing this where it's about a half a cup rather than 3/4 of a cup where we started. Let it go. I'm going to turn it up a little bit higher and I'm going to let it go for another, I don't know, minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. So then we're going to take this mixture and we're going to just dump it right over the top of the meat and the other ingredients that we already added to our pot. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and be honest, I don't fully trust this recipe. I feel like the amount of liquid that's in the bottom of this pan doesn't seem like enough to actually properly braise this meat. I'm going to do it as the recipe tells me to, but we're going to find out when we finish this. Let me see if I can figure out how to put this thing on here. So now we're locked into place. I'm told on here that I'm supposed to turn the steam release handle to venting position. Okay, so you just press it and it turns on the venting. Okay. Not as difficult as I would have maybe thought. And then we've got our settings where I think they're supposed to be, and I guess I just hit start. Alright, so it's got a little thing down here that says preheating, and I guess this is, oh, I see, it's got like a graph thing that does while it cooks. So that's fairly simple. We're now going to let this cook for the next 4 hours, and we'll get back with you when it's done. Alright, welcome back. 4 hours later, our Instantpot is done with our veal, or in our case beef. And I'm going to go ahead and open this bad boy up. I gotta say it smells really good. So that's a good start with this recipe. I still don't think that there's enough liquid in here, in all honesty, because not all of the meat was submerged in it while it was cooking. So we'll see how it actually turned out. So one of the things in this recipe that I also kind of don't like is that once you cook these, and they've been cooking for 4 hours, you have to take them out and then keep them warm, because you then have to take your liquid in the inside here and you have to reduce it. I find that annoying. Basically because, you've just spent 4 hours cooking something and it's supposed to be like, kind of one pot. So I'm going to take this liquid, we're going to bring it over here. It's okay. It's not great. So one of the other things I don't really care for about this recipe is that the instructions are a little bit vague when it comes to certain things. For example, during this portion, it says to cook until reduced to 3 cups. Supposed to guesstimate 3 cups in here? I mean, yeah, I guess. But it would be better to me if it told you, like, reduce by half, or reduce until thick, or, give me something to judge it by other than 3 cups. Is it supposed to be thick and have a thicker consistency, like a gravy? Is it still supposed to be super thin? Like, how are they expecting it to happen? What's the expected, because the picture that they show is not, in this little booklet, is not super great. And these recipes in this booklet that came with it, there's a bunch of different people that contributed to it. and the recipes came from different people. And I wish that I would have maybe paid a little bit more attention to the people that wrote each recipe, because there's names with these other recipes and they seem like they're better recipes. And this one is by Time Inc. I don't know who Time Inc. is. So I guess now is the time that we're going to find out if this, at least the meat tastes good, right? Maybe the combination of all of it together will be better. I will say at least it's got, like, I like a nice chunky sauce with all the veggies in it, so that's kind of nice. And voila. Now it's up to you if you want to follow the directions and do the parsley and the orange rind on this. Like I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not a fan of those flavors. I think that this is going to be good enough to try. Thanks for watching. This is why I'm doing this entire thing, to check out recipes and see how they are. Please, somebody out there, tell me you got a better recipe for ossobuco in the Instant Pot. Send it my way. I want to try another one. I will do yours from start to finish exactly the way you tell me to do it, because I want to taste something that tastes amazing, and this one does not. Click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. And like I said, I could have done better in my oven. I would rather cook this at 300, 350 for 4 hours and be perfect, rather than stick it in one of that. Like, what's the point? My crock pot could have done better than this. If I stuck this in a crock pot for that amount of time, it'd be better.